I don't think that that is conservatives' fault necessarily or liberals' fault. What I think is that that's the Olympics' fault.
We wake up and win. Wake up and win. Wake up and win. Wake up.
Hey, what's up, friends? It's Blaise here, and we're back with another episode of the Wake Up and Win podcast. Today, we are diving in on the topic that has stirred the whole internet across the world, Imane Khelif. Now, before you have a strong gut reaction to me, either on the right or on the left, just stick around and listen to what we've got to say today, because frankly, as soon as this story came out, my wife looked at me and we kind of looked at each other, and she was like, yeah, you're not making a post about that yet, are you? I'm like, no, I'm not. And she's like, yeah, I think we should wait and see what really goes on with this. And of course, that was the smartest thing that she could have thought. We've got Imane Khelif, who many in the United States immediately said she is a and she should not be boxing in the Olympic Games, as she was boxing 46 seconds into the boxing bout with the Italian boxer. The Italian boxer stopped, fell to her knees, basically quit. And many immediately pointing out the seeming to be gender differences as far as biological differences that seem to be from just the eye looking, going, she's bigger, she's stronger, all these things, and said this is a etc. As time went on, literally within 24 to 48 hours, we had the father of Imane Khelif coming out and saying she's grown up as a girl in Algeria. We raised her as a girl. She was always a girl. But we do see that there is a sexual disorder, a sexual biological disorder that she grew up with. And so she identifies as a woman. In Algeria, you can't be a transgender. So that's illegal. So they did not send a to box in the Olympics. So that is number one. That is out of the question. Hey guys, real quick before we keep going on this podcast, I don't know if you realize it, but it looks like the market is completely flipping upside down. I'm not a big predictor of the future markets. I'm not even a financial advisor in that way. But I'll tell you this, for the last 8 years with Wake Up and Win Insurance, we've been allowing clients or helping clients put their money in safe products like their IRAs, their 401ks, parking them in products that give them an upside gain, but also protect them from the downside loss. This is what we do, and part of the insurance products that we utilize to protect people's retirement in the case of downside market drops like we're experiencing right now. The clients that we've helped over the years with these things are very, very happy that we did this, especially in a time like right now where so many are losing their 401ks, losing their IRAs. If you're interested in a quick consultation, click the link below. I'm happy to talk to you personally and see if this will work out for you. Continue on, enjoying the podcast. Take care. All right. And then now we've got all this new information coming out, how she was raised as a woman, etc. But she had XY chromosomes. And so that's another thing that came out pretty quickly, that the biological differences seem to be clear. All right. So you've got all this different stuff. One thing that I think as Christians we've got to be aware of is this scripture came to mind. Okay. As we approach this type of topic and this type of subject, this scripture is what came to mind. My dear brothers and sisters, take note of this. Everyone should be quick to listen and slow to speak and slow to get angry. Quick to listen, slow to speak, and slow to get angry. I think that is very, very important, because I have seen so many backtrack on both sides in this whole thing. There's this big kind of rush to judgment on it, and then suddenly, day or two later, hey, I'm so sorry for what I said. I take back what I said. Then coming out 2 days after that and say, no, I stand by what I said. So I just think we've got to be slower to make those quick judgments. We've got to be slower to think through things and really pay attention, because in these days of social media, fake news is a real thing. Okay. Meaning the story can drop and you can look at it just for face value and say, this means this, but we've got to pay attention to the details and wait till everything comes out. So let's dive into a couple things. Something that stuck out to me today was this post by an account called it's called like the Truth About Cancer or something like that. But it was the IBA, all right? So I think it's the International Boxing Association, talking about how I believe Khelif and another boxer who's kind of risen in the ranks on the Olympic stage has the same disorder, a similar disorder, and both of them were disqualified by the IBA. okay, International Boxing Association. So I think that's notable. And then we listen to this doctor that examined both of them, and let's listen to what he says as he basically is speaking about these two boxers. I think it'd be wise to listen. All right. Many would say, well, we don't want to judge this, that, or the other. We don't want to be too harsh in our judgments. But at the same note, if there are injustices toward women in these sporting events, meaning, okay, meaning if you've got someone that's built like a man, has the biological advantages of a male, then it's really going to be tough for any fully biological female to step in the ring with that person. So let's listen to this before we jump to conclusions, and let's hear what this doctor has to say.
Doctor practice. I am obstetric gynecologist, general surgeon, and specialist in IVF, in vitro fertilization, and of course, in my genetic department. So that means many things. I don't want to speak too much medicine to you. I don't want to bother you, but many times, for many couples, I prepare babies. Men, woman, I try to say that the medical result, blood result, looks and say the laboratories that this boxer is male.
All right, so real quick. Again, he says the lab results, the blood results, everything says that this boxer is male. Let's go back real quick.
I try to say that the medical result, blood result, and say the laboratories, this boxer is male.
They say that this boxer is male. So another bombshell today. And I'll tell you guys, again, for me, it's like watching this thing go back and forth. You've got this female, okay, this person that lives as a female all her life, comes into boxing, then is banned by the International Boxing Association World Championships from fighting in the Women's World Championships. So this, to me, says, okay, there's definitely something going on that we have to pay attention to that is unfair. There's an unfair advantage there. So just in sports in general, I grew up playing sports up until my senior year of high school. Played football, ran track, played baseball, did powerlifting, all kinds of stuff. But in any situation where there's a physical unfair advantage, especially when it comes to gender advantage, like if there's a scenario in wrestling where you're going to be overpowering another person, if there's something that gives a genetic advantage male to female, then that's got to be paid attention to. Otherwise, you put the lives of other people, other women, in danger. Okay? Now, I am friends with lots of people online that are more progressive. Okay? I've got a lot of progressive type of friends that are online. This, to them, it's pretty bothersome. Like this the take that immediately is more conservative, that says should not be in female sports. That take for some of them is, for whatever reason, that's troubling for them. I, as a advocate for many women that have gone through abuse, as well as men that have gone through abuse in the church, clergy abuse, as an advocate, I tend to be open-minded to a certain extent. But when it comes to an area like this, I draw a line. I look and I go, you know what? I've got a daughter. I've got a daughter who's going to be turning 7 this year. And I'm going, I don't want my daughter in a boxing ring or especially in a physical altercation sport with someone with XY chromosomes. That doesn't make any sense. It's completely unfair. Lin Yu Ting, the other boxer that's in the Olympics, I guess that's also competing for a medal, is also been proven to be a biological male. So it could not pass the test to be a biological female to compete in the International Boxing Association. So if you've got this scenario, I understand the idea in progressives' mind of like, oh, just let's be tolerant, these people exist, etc. Well, number one, we're looking at a sexual development disorder. That's what we're looking at here, okay? We're not looking at genders. This is not even the gender issue. That is a whole nother issue. This here, and frankly, it's sad to me. It's sad to me as I look at the father who was sharing. The father was saying, I've raised my daughter as a woman her whole life, and she's worked very hard, et cetera, et cetera. And I understand that perspective because you've got somebody with a sexual development disorder, and it's pretty confusing for that person. So this is sad. And what I find is sad is that this person's been drugged through the international mud. But I don't think that that is conservatives' fault necessarily or liberals' fault. What I think is that that's the Olympics' fault. The Olympic Association that should have never allowed this to happen in the first place. As soon as they found out, and there was records that the International Boxing Association sent letters to the Olympics and let them know this, but they didn't respond. So as soon as this was made, that the Olympic Committee was made aware that these people were banned from the International Boxing Association for not being able to pass as females and not being able to fight as females, they should have gone with the same decision. Unfortunately, in their desire to be inclusive or their desire to be progressive or whatever the motivation was, they put this person in a very precarious situation. And what I don't like from conservatives is this person with a development disorder is getting bashed online. I think you need to back off. I think you need to leave this person alone. I think you need to back off of this person and pray for this person, okay? And I don't think that it's this person's fault that they have this development disorder, okay? They've probably figured out how to live their life with this development disorder. So I don't think it was their ill will or anything like that. I think that the Olympic Committee did a huge disservice to Imane Khelif. That's at the end of the day, and to the boxer that Imane faced. I think that this is a huge disservice that they did for letting this go on. And so, but at this point, regardless of the feelings of everyone involved, I think at this point they have got to shut it down. They've got to stop this, and they've got to say, if you're not passing those tests to be a biological female, to get in the ring with biological females and throw this, then you can't compete. That's just, unfortunately, sadly, the reality in this ring, this place of competition. So let me know what you guys think below. Again, back to what I said earlier, be quick to listen, slow to speak, because sometimes with a little bit more information, clarity comes, and we can have a perspective that's Christ-centered, that is, in some senses, I would say, people-centered, meaning caring about people's hearts. Like, imagine being this person. Imagine being Imane. You go through your life with already this developmental disorder, with a lot of confusion, a lot of struggle, a lot of heartache already, and then you fight your way through to get on the Olympic stage, and then when this happens, there's a lot of people saying you're this, that, and the other, when really you didn't really do anything but try to live your life. So I think as conservatives, we've got to be slow to speak, quick to listen. Slow to speak, quick to listen. Otherwise, we'll be casting judgment on people that don't deserve it, okay? Now, going to the overall topic of in sports, etc., that is a completely different conversation that I think needs to be had. And I think that I would say that we've got to avoid putting people in situations that are dangerous because of these type of scenarios. But this one here is different, and I would say I would qualify it as different. But the decision and solution, ultimately, it should still be the same. We cannot put biological males in the ring or in sports competitions with biological females. It's dangerous. It sets a wrong precedent. And it really, in my mind, as much as progressives want to think that it progresses us forward, I think it takes us backwards in humanity. I think it hurts women's rights overall. I think it hurts the dignity of women overall and the dignity of humanity. All right, guys, that said, bless you. Let me know your thoughts below.